talk through today, we are going to, again, kind of go through the basics of utilizing Company at the admin level. So how to create your projects so they're available for your team to view when they're in the field, sharing those photos with customers. We'll talk about creating reports and utilizing the checklist to make sure you're getting everything that you need at that job site. We'll talk about collaborating with subcontractors or anybody outside of your account that's working on that job site with you. We'll get into organizing your projects a bit with tags and labels, talk about account management, and hopefully if we have time, we'll make sure we talk about that showcases piece for your marketing aspect of utilizing CompanyCam in those photos too. So that's our agenda for today. I am gonna swipe over here to our app and the website. So again, this is gonna be a lot of web-based focus. So I've got my website up right in the middle. You can see behind here, we do have the app for the few things that we'll kind of pop over and show there, but we'll start on the desktop side with getting those projects created and in CompanyCam. So CompanyCam is cloud-based. When you create that project on the desktop, it will be available for your team to view in the app. There's some GPS locating that's happening using your mobile device, so we can populate the projects at the address that they're standing in front of in that nearby projects area. So it's really easy for them to find and access that to start taking their photos. So to create those projects on the desktop, right when you log into CompanyCam, you're on your company feed. To the right, you're going to see a blue Create Project Up button here. This is going to take you into a map screen, but also populate this pop-up here so you can just type in the address that you need to create that project for. So you can type the address in. We'll type in our office address. And that populates and takes us to this map. The advantage of this is that it allows us to drag and drop this map if we need to adjust the address. We can also search for an address up at the top. But if we go, I'm actually going to come back really quick. So one thing I want to make sure that I show you here from this create screen, you do have an option to draw a geofence around a property if it doesn't have an exact address, or maybe it's a little bit larger. You're working with multiple complexes and you want to highlight the entire area. The geofence is going to allow you to do that. So we can click and kind of drag through. This is the area that we want to create that project for. So you've got some options on ways to create those projects if you have an address or not. Again, I'm going to throw our address back in to our project here. So this is giving us one, apologize. Canopy is what I want. So we've got a new one here. Awesome. So we've got our address in here. Your project will need a name. Always recommend coming up with a good naming convention and making sure everybody across your team is aware of what that is. So if it isn't you creating those projects, whoever's doing that for you that day knows exactly how those projects should be named. So they're easy to find down the road. There's just consistency across the entire account. So no matter who's looking for it, they can find it because they know exactly how to name those. I am going to we'll just use our last name and then a reference or project number for the customer that we'll toss in there as well. Last thing is the project address. If there is a suite number or an apartment number that you need to add in, you've got a space to do that there, and then you can create that project. You'll see here there is something called project templates. It's available for our premium users where they can kind of template out the project and include checklist reports, any documents that come with that as they create those projects. Otherwise, you can just create project. It's going to build the folder for you with that address. So all of your photos, your documentation, your checklist, your reports will live under this particular folder for you to view, for your team to view, for anybody else who needs to find information on that project. They'll have one area associated with that address to find all of that information. And again, now that this project is created, it will be available for us on the app side for us to access and start taking those photos right away from the job site. So that is how we'll create our projects on the desktop here. I am going to come back to one of our other projects that's got some photos in there so we can talk through the process of sharing those photos with customers. So as your team is taking those photos in the app, they are going to almost in near real time upload to CompanyCam on the desktop. So anybody back in the office is going to have access to view those as they're kind of coming in. Your team in the field will see them as well. I apologize. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues today. My computer is being a touch slow. Let me retry this really quick. All right, 1 second. I'm going to quit my screen share so I can see what's happening on my desktop. Okay, I think we're back here. All right. Awesome. Apologize for that error, guys. Thanks for sticking with us for a second here. So we're back on our desktop. I'm going to open up one of my projects here and we'll talk through sharing those projects or sharing those photos from the project with customers. So this is a great way to share a particular photo. Maybe it's a group of photos or you want to share everything with anybody outside of your account. You're going to generate a link that they can access the photos from that doesn't require them to log in or create an account. An easy way for you and your team to share photos from the field or from the office. When you click on your project in the top right corner, you're going to see a share icon. This is going to give you a share all images, which allows you to share a gallery of all of the photos that currently exist in the project. So every photo that we currently have in here is going to be included in this gallery link. It's going to ask if we want to also include the who, when, and where those photos were taken. Up to you on if you want to provide that additional level of transparency with information, and then we'll click our get link to gallery. Now this link is what we can email out. We can copy and paste it into a text message. Also gives us an option to post that directly to social media if we want to add that to our company's Facebook page, just so we can see the photos that are happening with this job progress. And it's really as simple as that. Once you've got that link, paste it into an email, send it out via text message. That customer is going to have access to view those photos in a gallery that looks like this. It is going to be in chronological order from how they were taken. They can download them to their own device if they want to save a hard copy of those. But as long as they have the link, they'll have access to view those photos that you've shared with them. Now, our most popular way that we see people share is a gallery of selected photos, mostly because it gives you a lot of control over what photos you actually want to share out of the account. So you don't have to share everything. To do a gallery of selected photos, when you scroll down to the photo feed within that project, you will see this checkbox next to the dates. So you can select an entire date range of photos, or if there are just individual photos that you want to pick and choose from your entire photo feed. If we continue to scroll down here and hover our mouse over any of these, the top left corner is going to give us that same square check where we can select the photos we want to send out. Up at the top, we have this kind of actions bar. We're going to click on share. We're going to click on gallery and then walk through that same process like we did for a gallery of all photos. Decide if you want to include those photo details, get linked to gallery, and now you can copy this link, share this out with anybody outside of your account who you'd like to share access to those photos with. The last option for sharing is a way that's going to provide just a lot more detail and really provide a really transparent view of what's happening on that job site to your customer. And that is going to be our project timeline. You'll find that under the share option when you're in that project. Under this timeline section, you'll see share timeline link. What this link is going to do is live update as you're taking photos. So if you want to keep your customer up to date with photos as you take them through that project, you can share this project timeline link with them. Every time they open it, they'll see any new photos that have been taken within that time frame. So a common thing that we see customers doing is sharing a timeline link at the beginning of the job, telling their customer, hey, if you want to stay up to date with all of the photos and the progress that we're doing for this job, use this link. If they're opening it every day, they'll see those new photos that have been taken within that day or, the time frame that they're opening that link. A great way to provide some transparency and make it really easy for them to view photos at any point that they would like to while you're working on that job. Now, the project timeline does have some ways to kind of pull some information out. So it is, built to share absolutely everything. But if there are photos that you do not want to include or for your customer to see, maybe your team actually took a photo of their foot in the ground while opening the app. There are things in there that you don't necessarily need them to see. You do have ways to hide photos from the project timeline. And then at the end of that job, or really at any point, if you want to disable that timeline link, you've got access to do that. So you still have control over how much access to those photos they have. If you want to hide any photos from that project timeline, just come find that photo. We'll select it just like we did to select it to share. Under actions at the top bar, under this project section, you'll see hide in project timeline. When we select that, the photo now has this little eye icon in the bottom right-hand corner, gives us the information that we've hidden this in our timeline. So this is not going to show up when we share that project timeline with a customer. We can always come back and unhide that if we want to give them access at any point to that particular photo, or if we want to disable that project timeline link back under share, disable timeline. If they click on that, they're going to get an error. They'll need to reach out to you if they have photos that they still need to see. Any questions on sharing or creating a project? Awesome. All right, we will continue on here and get into our reports. So we just talked about sharing via link. Our reports are another way to share photos outside of CompanyCam. But we typically see people using this for insurance. You can even use these for daily reports. For any way that you want to kind of combine photos and give a lot of context or add some information as to what's happening and provide some more descriptive information for that project. Reports are really, really great for supplementing to insurance. So if that is your primary, kind of your primary thing here, in addition to taking photos with CompanyCam, reports are going to be a massive win for you. I know those insurance and adjusters, they do not like those clickable gallery links. I think there's a safety thing with the links that they don't like. So the PDF option still allows you to give them more information than you could with a gallery link, and is in a format that they for sure will accept. So over on our reports tab on the desktop here, this is going to hold all of the reports that have already been created for this project. You can go back through these and add and update them, share them out as needed, but you'll see the option to create a new project from here as well. If you are on our premium subscription, you will have access to create report templates, so your team can kind of plug and play photos as they're working on reports and not have to build them from scratch. Our pro tier still has access to just create reports. You'll be able to create them for as many projects as you'd like for, or create as many reports as you'd like for as many projects as well. So we'll walk through actually just building out that report itself. Select that new report option and make sure that we give our report a title. So we'll do CompanyCam desktop class. And then we'll choose our page layout, which will be 2, 3, or 4 photos per page. All of this is information that we can update once we actually have the report created. So we'll select some options here. Now we are in our report builder. You'll see you have a cover page, and then your reports will be organized by sections. This gives you a little bit more flexibility to say, here are all of our damage photos, here are the solutions that we need, or break it out by room. You've got a lot of different ways to categorize the photos within your report with these particular sections. All your reports will have at least one section. It's up to you if you want to continue to add more to that. So we'll create our first section. Gives you an ability to rename that section if you'd like. And then you have an area here for a section summary. This is a great place to leave information that's going to pertain to the photos that fall into that section. And it can truly be a high level information. Here's what's damaged. Here's what pricing looks like. Here's timelines. Great place to leave a lot of that. So there's more context going into the photos that will fall within that section. You'll see you have some formatting options here. If you want to bold to highlight anything, you've got bullet or number lists to make it even easier to read. The other thing you'll have access to from here is our text snippets. This is a great way to create a templated library of text that you're commonly using or information that you would typically pull into a report. That makes it easy so you don't have to copy and paste or try to retype all of that information every single time you need it within a report or even on a photo description. So we'll select a snippet here so we can add one in. Anytime you see that text snippet, click into it. It'll give you an option to create a brand new one if you'd like, or you can edit one that does exist. We'll pull in this summary final here. We can continue to add more information to the section summary as needed, or we can move on to actually getting our photos in. So we're good with our section summary. We'll pull our photos in here. Since we're on the desktop, we're going to pull photos that already exist in the project. If we were in the app, it would give us an option to take photos on the spot so they can kind of work through that report as they're working through that job and add those photos in. So let's select a few. Again, we can select an entire date range, or if we just want to choose particular photos to pull in to this section, we can individually select them. We'll add these 4 photos to our report. And as you can see to the right of each photo, it's going to give us a little additional description area. You click in here, we'll give you those same formatting options. Your text snippets are also available here. But if your team is adding descriptions to photos as you take them, that is information you can easily translate into the report. We've got a way to load that descriptive information in, so you don't have to retype that or copy and paste that or try to reference that as you're filling out your report. If you want to pull in any of your photo descriptions or even any photo comments, under photo options in the top right, you'll see these two options here, photo descriptions as well as photo comments. We can pull all of that information in. As we scroll down, this photo here had a description, and I also believe had a comment in here. You'll see all of that automatically pull in. So it really speeds up your process to get that information added to your photos. You can do that on an individual photo basis as well. To the right, that three-dot menu icon will give you the option to load photo comments or photo descriptions, depending on what is actually available for that particular photo. Once you've got your photos in, you've got your section summary in, add a new section, continue to do that for as many sections as you need to within your report. The last few things are really to check your report settings. So you'll have a cover page, as I mentioned here. When we click over there, we'll pull your company logo as long as that's been uploaded. There are some other kind of toggles that you can turn on and off depending on the information that you want to show up. You also have an area for a cover photo if you select one. So I'll come back to our section here, and I'll hover over one of our photos. Give me an option to set it as a cover photo. We'll see that little preview here so we know that's ready to go. Lastly, when I come under manage and into settings, this is where I can find my report settings to change the title. If I want to add a subtitle, change my page layout, or hide any particular photo information, photo tags, you'll see these toggles available for you to kind of customize as well. Once your report is set and you have everything filled in the way you want, click that generate PDF. This is going to give you a quick preview so you can take a look at what that full report looks like with your cover page, your section information, your photos. Make sure you've got everything that you need. Download that as a PDF that'll save to your desktop. You can attach it in an email that you're sending out with anything else. Send that over to that adjuster or the customer. They'll have access to this report as a PDF to view. And again, this will save to the project itself, so we can always come back at any point if we need to make any changes. We see this report available for us right away to click on to share as needed. Any questions on reports? Awesome. Hopping into checklists here. So checklists are a great way for you to make sure your team is fully aware of everything that needs to happen on that job site. We'll also make sure that you're getting all of the photos and the information that you need as your team is taking those photos. So think of this as accountability, as well as everybody's on the same page, knowing what needs to happen on this job site. Again, if you are a premium user, you'll have access to templates with checklists. So you can create a checklist template, use it for multiple jobs. Our pro subscription users will have the ability to create checklists for every project, as many as you'd like. You just won't have the template option there. So we'll walk through how to actually create those checklists here. I'll show you what it looks like for your team in the field as they're actually working through that as well. So you can see what they're seeing on that side too here. So from our checklist tab, just like reports, you'll see a list of all of the active checklists for that projects, whether they're completed or not, what the progress is, who's been working on them with this latest activity on the side here too. So we'll come in and create checklist. We'll do new checklist and give it a good title. And we'll create our checklist. So similar to reports, you've got a way to add some sections to just add some more organization to your report or to your checklist here. So we can add a section and call it like pre-inspection. We can do a section that is inspection and post-inspection, for example. Within each section, you can then add individual tasks, or if you need to add tasks outside each section, you still have the ability to do that here as well. So we'll hit add a new field to start creating the tasks within that particular section. the first thing we'll want to do is make sure that we give a description or a title for what that task is or what needs to be accomplished. So we'll say check for damage as the task itself. There is an area here for notes or instructions. So if there are particular things that you want to make sure your team is checking for, if you want to check for specific things that might come with damage, you can add that information in to that description so they know what they're looking for. The other thing that you can do is really pull more information out of this particular task from your team with questions. So when we click into questions, it's going to give us 4 options. There's a yes or no, a rating scale on a 1 to 5, a text box for open response or comments that they might need to add. The last option will be a multiple choice. You can input all the potential answers for that task. Whoever's completing it will be able to check everything off that does apply in that case. So we're going to add a yes or no question here. We'll also just add a rating scale. We'll give each a description and severity of damage. And now we've got some questions added to our task for our team to complete. With questions added, they do have to answer those questions before they can complete the task. So just know that does provide that extra barrier where they're not just clicking through any task. They do have to answer those questions and gather that information before they can move on. In addition to those questions kind of being a barrier to complete the task, you'll also have a photos required option. And this is this toggle that we see here. For every task that you create, we have this defaulted to turn on for you so you can make sure you're getting all the photos that you need. If there is ever a task that doesn't require a photo, as an admin or manager, you have the ability to turn that off so you don't have random photos in your project feed just to fulfill that task there. And again, we'll automatically keep that turned on for you so you can make sure that you're getting all the photos that you need. The other thing I'll point out here from an admin, particularly from the admin manager perspective, if you want to provide some reference options or images for your team, maybe it's a new process or you just want to make sure that they're taking the right type of photo, you do have a reference, an option to add reference images here as well. Will allow you to upload up to 5 reference images per task, just to give them a good idea of what that photo should look like or what they should be looking for while they're out in the field. So that's how you'll create a task. You'll do that for as many tasks as you have within that section or across the entire checklist. We'll come into the app here and I'll show you what this looks like for your team in the field. So we'll open up our same project. They will come over to checklist. They'll see those active checklists from here. All they need to do is tap on the checklist to get started. They'll see the questions and everything else that they need to in order to complete it. If I try to check that off, it's giving me that error that I have to add photos to complete this field. I will also have to answer those questions. All they'll need to do is answer. We'll say yes. We'll give it a 3 for the severity here. And now the last thing we need to do is still add that photo. To the right of the task, you'll see that camera icon that has a little plus sign on it. If we tap there, it's going to give us the ability to take a photo on the spot from the checklist. That photo will save to the photo feed. You can add a photo that already lives in your project, or if that photo happens to be on your device's camera roll, you can upload it directly to the checklist as well. So a few different ways to capture that. If you just want to take the photo itself, just tap and hold on the camera icon, brings you into that camera screen so you can take that photo. We'll hit done. And then as you can see, it's applied itself right to the task itself. So now we can check this off, turn screen so we know it's done. You also get kind of timestamp information of the date and time that the task was completed and which one of your users is actually completing that task too. So still have a lot of visibility, provides a lot of transparency on the internal side as well. So you know who's doing what and making sure it's getting done on the time frame that you were anticipating as well. Any questions on checklist? Alrighty. We are getting close to time, so we might rapid fire through a few things that I want to make sure that you know. But again, if there are other questions, please make sure to ask those so we can make sure to answer those or get you to your rep if we need to, if we happen to run out of time today. The last few things that we'll talk through here are collaborators. So this is a great way if you have somebody working on that job site, maybe you've subcontracted for Windows or really anything else, if they're not a part of your company, but are working on that job site, you can add them as a collaborator to make sure the photos that they're taking still live in your project so you can tell that full story. To add your collaborators, We're in our project. On the right-hand side, you'll see a collaborators option here. When we click into this, give it a second to load here. This is going to show us if we have any collaborators on our project already. It looks like we have one, but we can invite a new company or a new person to this particular project. Collaborators will be invited on a project by project basis, so they won't have access to all of the projects in your account, just the ones that you invite them to. When we invite a collaborator, it's going to give us a link that we'll send out. This link is active for 7 days, and that's just for them to accept the collaboration. So we'll send this out via text or email. When they accept this collaboration, they'll have access to the project we invited them to, and we'll now be able to add and take photos for that project. They can view and share the photos in that project. We'll also be able to view and make comments. So you can still communicate with your collaborators through CompanyCam in those photos. You're still getting all the information that they're capturing for that project as well and saving it in your CompanyCam project file. At the end of that job, or whenever the subcontractor's work is done, you have the ability to end that collaboration so they no longer have access to that project. You will still retain all the photos, all the information that they added will still live in your account since you created that project, but they will no longer have access to any new updates. To disable that collaborator, again, we're in this collaborators view, so make sure to click collaborators from the project page. On the far right, that 3-dot menu icon gives you the option to end that collaboration. That just means they'll no longer have access to this project. And again, you still retain all the information that they had added during that collaborated time. Quick hit on tags and labels. As you can see here, we have a lot of tags. These are going to be your tags. They live or work on the photo level, but essentially allows you to add some more easy descriptors to those photos so they're easy for you to find. So think there are maybe photos that you want to send to your marketing team, things that you want to mark as damage to eventually create a report on. If you're organizing by room or sides of a roof, for example, you can create tags for a lot of different purposes here. But these tags are going to make it easy for you to organize your photos within the project or across the entire account as well. To add a tag, all you'll need to do is click on one of your photos. On the right-hand side, you'll see this option for add tags. This is going to allow you to select any tags that already exist in your account, or if you are an admin or manager, you'll have the ability to create a brand new one. I am going to select backside, for example. We can add multiple tags if we need to a photo. We'll hit save tags. We see this tag show up here. And then back on our project view, we've got all of these tags outlined for us already. So if I want to search through everything that is damaged or everything that is backside, I can click on this tag and it's going to filter out all of the photos that have that particular tag. I'm going to do a quick refresh here to make sure that one that we just tagged shows up there. But a great way for you to organize those on the back end, a great way for you to easily create reports based on tags. So you can filter through what you need and for your team to organize those. At the project level, we have what we call project labels. You'll see these right here. Great way to just kind of document where are we on this job? What year was it was this project created? Is it paid? Is it unpaid? Are we in progress? Are there particular materials that we use that we want to call out so they're really easy to find a project that used a certain type of door or a certain paint color? Really easy to do that with labels. When we come into edit labels, you'll see that we as CompanyCam have created some for you that you can use. You can create brand new labels up at the top so it really matches what your vernacular is or what your kind of word library is for all of your jobs. All you'll need to do is select one, hit save at the very bottom so it adds, but you can add multiple labels to really call out everything that's happening on that project at a really high level. Your team will also see those labels when they're in the app looking at those projects. Last quick hit. I know we're 3 minutes over, so I appreciate you guys sticking with me, but I want to make sure we run through account management really fast. If you need to update your users, check your billing information, or if you want an overview of what's happening on your account, you have access to that as an admin manager with your account settings. So I'm going to click on my name in the top corner here is my user profile. From here, you'll see your billing options. So if you need to update your card, if you want to trial the premium subscription or trials, or just kind of see how often are we paying? Are we on a monthly? Are we in a yearly subscription? How many users do we have active? When is our next payment due? All of that will come from this billing section here that you can update and kind of just view. If you need to add any users, that'll be on your left-hand side in this little menu bar. If we click into users, this will show you everybody that's currently invited. Your deactivated users will be all the way at the very bottom, so you still have their photos information there. But invite users in the top right is how you'll add them to your account as a full user, so they have access to all your projects, can use checklists, etc. Now, we also just released a company dashboard. So this is a newer feature within the last 2-ish weeks that we dropped here. That gives you a high-level overview of what's happening on the account from the account perspective or even at the user view. So that is going to be under your user profile again. Under that Your Company section, we'll click on Company Dashboard, and this is going to give us a way to just kind of see in a particular time frame. We're set for 30 days right now, but you see we've got a few different options on how we want to look at information. In the last 30 days, how many projects have we taken, or how many projects have we created, photos we've taken, tasks that have been completed, reports, documents, how many collaborators do we have? This is your overview at the account level. If you want to dive a little bit deeper, you've got access to view on a user level to who's been most recently active, what users have been doing over the last 30 days or time period that you select. You can also go in and search by a particular user as well to view their information, what their role is, what content have they been creating in CompanyCam over that last selected time frame. You also have the ability to add a new user here if needed, but this is a newer feature. Please check this out. We want feedback on this. So if you have feedback or suggestions, please let us know so we can make this even better for you. We'll continue to push some new updates to this company dashboard to give you a lot of visibility as to what's happening on your account at a high level. Last kind of thing to note on this company dashboard, this does refresh every 24 hours. It is not a real-time dashboard, so we're not going to see this photo count tick up over the next few minutes or hours here. It will refresh every 24 hours in the evening. So any data that we pulled from today will be available tomorrow when we come back to this dashboard and even change this to yesterday, for example. As you change those fields, as you can see, it's automatically refreshing that data for us. So really quick and easy process to do that. But one new feature that I wanted to make sure we pointed out today for our admins and managers. Okay. That is almost all the information I had. I know we're over time, so we'll quickly ask, do we have any other questions that we need to run through at the moment? Awesome. Last few things, upcoming classes. Wednesday, February 28th at 11 a.m. we have a class for setting up your CompanyCam in business for a successful busy season. On March 6th, we'll do CompanyCam for mobile. That's great for your field or your crew. It's going to be very app focused, so you can sign them up for that class. On Wednesday, March 13th, we are going to do a class on integrations and the best way to make CompanyCam and the other softwares that you use work together to minimize your workflow, make things super efficient, and get information translating in multiple places. So all of these are going to be on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. If you want to register for these classes, or if you'd like to view any of our previous classes, go to companycam.com/classes. Register for new ones there. You'll see a bunch of different options for previous classes and webinars that we've held that you can then view. Today's class, we will send you an email that has a recording of this. So if you had to leave early, or if you want to share this with someone who wasn't able to join us, you will have a copy of this recording to share with them.